The newest chapter of Berserk, chapter 373, subtly reveals some information that completely changes the dynamic between Guts and the Beast of Darkness. Not only does it reveal that the Beast of Darkness isn't just a physical manifestation of Guts' rage, but it also shows how to exorcise that demon from Guts' soul. Welcome to the Blade of Darkness theory. Now, my brother and I have had this idea for a few years, and I had my doubts, but after the newest chapter released, I knew we were on the right track, and I had to share it with you guys. So, let's dive into chapter 373. The chapter begins on the deck of the ship, where Serpico is consoling a depressed Isidro who tragically lost his friend, Yzma. Meanwhile, in the hull of the ship, Shirke is entering the astral plane, looking for Casca, and that is when it cuts to Guts, lying on the floor and void of any hope. Suddenly, a black mist emerges from the Dragon Slayer, and a familiar face we haven't seen in so long finally appears. The Beast of Darkness. Now, before we talk about their interaction, I'd like to talk about just one teeny tiny thing, and that is...
The beast just came out of the frickin' sword! What the hell?
Like, seriously, what the hell? When this chapter came out, that was the first thing I noticed, and I haven't seen anybody talk about it on the internet. This one panel changes our perception of what the Beast of Darkness is. He's not just some wrath demon taking over Guts. He's a monster within the Dragon Slayer, making it a cursed blade. And there has been evidence building up to this for a long time. But if you're not convinced, at least give me a chance to prove it. So let's take a step back and examine chapter 203. Inside of Shirke's home, the party is receiving a whole slew of elemental weapons. She then explains that the four states of being, solid, liquid, gas, and energy, all have ethereal forms within the astral world. She then gives Serpico a cloak and feather that is bathed in sylphs, and Isidro a dagger bathed in salamanders, each controlling wind and fire respectively. By the way, something to take notice in this story is that the sylphs and the salamanders seem to have a sentience, a personality of their own. The sylphs respond very well to Serpico's courtesy, and the salamanders to Isidro's chaotic behavior. That'll be important later. Unfortunately, when she offers a mysterious axe to Guts, he promptly refuses.
God, that's so lame!
I know, right? Moving along, when Guts walks away, the Dragon Slayer steals Shirke's attention, and she notices a strange aura surrounding the blade. The chapter really focuses on this, and it's never mentioned again. But what was that thing that Gedfrig mentioned? Well, it looks like we're moving on to Elfhelm. Here, Gedfrig is bringing the entire party to the cherry blossom tree. As they are walking through this lush forest, Isidro starts to notice that there's a little pep in his step. And in noticing this, Isidro attempts a jump, only for the fact that he jumps all the way up to the tree branch. This is when Gedfrig explains something called Berides.
Berides, nuts in your mouth! Oh, got him!
Please ignore him. Anyway, as I was saying, Gedfrig goes on to explain what Berides are, an elemental that controls gravity, and they have a quality that makes them very different from other elementals. Even mages have a hard time seeing them, until they're gathered in large quantities, which is said to cause dark skies, obsession, and depression. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Okay, so by now you're picking up what I'm putting down. The Dragon Slayer is an elemental weapon, and the Beast of Darkness is a collection of these elementals. But the Dragon Slayer was made with a normal blacksmith. How can that be? Well, let's go over how it was made then. Godo was just a normal blacksmith who made weapons for the kingdom's military. However, over time, he became more resentful towards the nobles because they kept asking him to redo the swords and make them fancier, when Godo knew all they were weapons to kill. The last straw was when the king asked Godo to make a weapon that could kill a dragon. So Godo decided to show the king exactly what that would be. Just a massive slab of iron. Displeased by this, the king ordered for Godo's execution. Running away, Godo decided to live the rest of his life in solitude. And so, Godo finishes his story by stating that the sword is a constant reminder of how he lost sight of what a sword is. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if Barides cause weight, obsession, and depression, it sounds like the Dragon Slayer is the perfect mix of those things. But what about the Black Swordsman arc, and all the way up until he fought Rosine? The Beast doesn't show up at all during those times, and if this theory is correct, that doesn't really line up. Well, first of all, I like to chalk that up to Kentaro Miura not exactly knowing where the story was headed when he started this series. And second of all, I think the Dragon Slayer is like the ring from Lord of the Rings, except the temptation to use it didn't come in until Guts fought Rosine. Before he fought Rosine, he was already on a 2-year rampage. After he fought Rosine, he started to doubt himself and whether or not he was on the right path. That is when the Beast of Darkness appeared in front of him for the first time. Which, by the way, I just have to say, I love how Kentaro Miura introduced the Beast of Darkness. It was in the middle of the day, right after he fought Rosine, and then bam, suddenly he's right in front of him. As a matter of fact, I like all of the set pieces that the Beast is in. And I think that's because the Beast is my favorite character. I understand that he is a symbol of Guts' inner rage and darkness, but I really want him to be more than that. The Beast makes Guts more of a relatable character, and I hope he's real because I want Guts to be able to defeat him. I mean, who doesn't want to best their temptations, right? So we're finally back to chapter 373. This one-sided conversation was the last piece of evidence to convince me that the Beast is in the Dragon Slayer. So let's take a look. The Beast starts by taunting Guts, asking him if he wants power. This is of course in reference to Guts' previous battle with Griffith where he didn't even touch him. In response to the Beast, Guts immediately grabs the Dragon Slayer, only for him to start losing control and the Beast begins to take over. Unable to continue fighting, Guts falls over once again, and the Beast leaves him one final message. That flesh restrains you. Yield your all to me. After the conversation, the Beast begins to trail off, and the last 2 panels that this scene leaves us off with are of the Beast and the Dragon Slayer. So let's focus on the key points here. The Beast emerges from the Dragon Slayer, and when Guts touches the sword, he starts to lose control. That is not a coincidence. If that isn't proof that the Beast is in the Dragon Slayer, I don't know what is. But why is it a big deal? Well, if the Beast really resides within the blade, let's think back on the previous fight that Guts just had. Guts was fighting Griffith, and every single swing went completely through him, as if the sword was physically incapable of touching him. So what I think happened here is that the Beast made it so that the blade was no longer coated in Barides, making it so that the Dragon Slayer can no longer touch ethereal things. Because think about it. It doesn't make sense that the Dragon Slayer can kill everything, including another God Hand, but now all of a sudden it can't touch Griffith. So I think that the Beast did this all so that Guts would have to yield more control to him. That's a major issue. How do you fix this? Well, it's simple, really.
Just get rid of the sword, dummy!
Hey guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. As you can see, this is my first video, so if you have any critiques, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. And while you're down there, go ahead and tell me what you thought about the theory. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Any questions? Be sure to let me know. And finally, if you're feeling super generous, a like and a subscribe would really inspire me to keep making videos like this. Anyway, this has been Saad Hanashi. Have a great day.